Hey everybody, we're live. A little bit late this morning, or this morning here, this afternoon somewhere else, and probably this evening somewhere else as well. Apologize for that. Lots of stuff going on here. A little bit of travel as well. Never makes things any easier. So I'm just going to hang out for a minute or two, wait for people to roll in, and we'll get started, considering we're an hour and a half late. That's not so bad, maybe. Hey, Crispy, Cody, Bjorn, and Josh. Guys, can I get a mic check? Give me a mic check, please. Want to make sure that everybody can hear me, or I'm not just, talking to myself here. All good, okay. So we have some news, obviously, I didn't cover on Wednesday because I was traveling. Also have a good amount of Reddit questions from last week, and I think this week as well. So what do you guys want to do? You guys want to do the news? You guys want to do Reddit questions? You guys want to jump into the AMA, grab that stuff later, not do it at all? Let's take a vote. Thank you, Oliver. It's a nice shirt, actually. It's comfortable. XCM is very much not dead, so also factual, so that's cool. Start with Reddit questions. Okay. I was accused of selling this week again. Hey, Uros. I don't know what to say, man. I could check Uros' account and make sure that he's actually not selling. I'm pretty sure he's not, though. But anyway, the Euros meme has become, part of CoinMetro, so Uros, you're going to have to take, some shit for a little while longer because it's now kind of like part of the fabric. Start with Reddit. Okay, Oliver wants to start with Reddit as well. 3 stories, Reddit first. Give me that news. Okay, so we got a few votes for Reddit. I'm going to do Reddit questions. How's that? Then we'll do AMA. And then we'll figure out what we're going to do with these news stories. I'll pick a few of them. How's that? This way we don't do all of them. So I'm going to start out with Reddit. You guys can follow along here. Potentially could put the question up on the screen if that makes any sense whatsoever. Though some of these seem to be a bit long. So we only have 5 news stories. So actually we'll probably cover those after the Reddit. But let's get on to Reddit questions. From Wolf_. What are you doing to get the volume up? Why should anyone care about CoinMetro when there are 500 other exchanges? Why are the volumes still low 3 years after ICO? So actually, I'm going to throw this one up on the screen because I guess my answer is probably going to be a bit long-winded here. And this way, people can actually understand what I'm talking about. So here we go. So this came from Reddit. So what are we doing to get the volumes up? Well, I would say that up to this point, all of our growth, aside from the ICO, has all been organic. And while we've been doing testing on marketing, we've been doing low-scale marketing tests, though we have started to ramp up over the past couple weeks, and we have a couple really interesting things coming up in the month of September in terms of marketing. And I'll talk about those a bit later. But because you asked about volumes, and that ties to marketing, we will be doing things like competitions, one with PRQ. Listen for a little explanation on that one later, PRQ being Parsec, if you don't know about them already, and you probably should. I think their token is up something like 5,000% in 10 days. So an interesting one. So why should anyone care? Look, I think, and yeah, I don't know if there's 500 exchanges, maybe there's 1,000, maybe there's 100, maybe there's only really 35 that are actually operating. I have no idea. And I don't think it matters. How many banks are there? How many brokers are there? How many hedge funds are there? How many, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That doesn't mean that it's not still a competitive space. So there are a lot of exchanges. Most of those exchanges, most at the top are crypto to crypto. And that's it. Most didn't build their own tech. Most don't have any other services. Most are charging high commissions. And as you know, banks and other big institutions come into this game and lower those commission levels, and also regulators come in and increase those regulatory costs, what you start to see is, well, companies going out of business. That's what happens. So how are we different? Why should people care about us? It's a good question. So one, we have a suite of products. So in the beginning, even in the beginning back in ICO days, even if you read our initial white paper, you see that we weren't focused just on exchange. From my experience in FX, I understand that charging 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 basis points for a trade is not going to last. It happened in retail FX. It lasted for roughly 5 years, I think, between maybe 98 and 2003. At that point, all the shops that were still charging such high fees were starting to become bucket shops. That was the term that was used. And those guys slowly and steadily and then very quickly went out of business. So as your margins start to decrease and the basically the costs of regulatory start to increase and compliance, what happens? Well, you're done. So you need to build out, as a business, you need to build out multiple revenue streams. And we've done that. We have revenue streams that come from all different pieces and all different places inside of this product ecosystem we built, from margin trading to that dashboard widget, to our exchange platform, onwards into the debit cards and the IBAN accounts that are coming out soon. And of course, our securities marketplace, a place where people can not only raise money, but they can also have secondary trading of securities, tokenized bonds, tokenized equity, etc. All those things add in different layers and different places that we can earn money, and they're also interesting to a client base. Not to mention that we're about to offer things like staking while having funds on a tram. That means you can put your money up so somebody else can trade it, and you can make income. You can make passive income, but you can also be staked at the same time. So you can stake those assets and make fixed income on those assets while you're making variable income from the actual tram trading. We have lots of things that are coming out. Our ecosystem is built in kind of a circular manner, where in the middle is the exchange engine. Everything else feeds off of that engine. But that means that we can start to combine products, make hybrid products, things that become quite interesting. And we can do that either under our regulatory umbrella that we have in Estonia for crypto, whether through the regulatory bubble we have in Australia, also through crypto or remittance, or through the regulatory umbrella that we have in Montenegro, where we can cover securities and CFDs and all different types of regulated products. So we're interesting, much more interesting than your average crypto exchange. Why is the volume so low? Well, we've focused on building. We've been focused on building product and building community, and we've done a pretty darn good job at doing that. And now we're just now shifting into building out the business, building out the client list. And we have like 70,000 clients, I think. And we've focused on quality, not quantity. Look at PRQ, look at Parsec. It's the only project we listed through our CoinMetro Direct platform. You know why? Because it was the only one we could really find that fit all the check marks, that checked all the boxes when we looked to see when we're going to list a business. And look where it is now. Yeah, it took a year. And yeah, you can say that we might have not been the catalyst for that push, but we're the only place still where you can buy that with pounds, where you can buy it with euros, where you can come in with fiat on a credit card and buy PRQ. Amazing product. Okay, so I think that covers that one. I don't know what you guys think, but I think I covered that answer. Let me jump on to our next. Okay, so read that. I'm gonna post these up as well, just so everybody can see. This is from Redug. Is it Redug? I always get this name wrong, I think. I just read it too fast. Yeah, Red Doug, something like that. Let me post this up. It's gonna be pretty big. Hopefully it doesn't cover my face here. I think I can get all the questions into this little banner here, hopefully. Okay, since I surely forget my question before the AMA, I'm gonna ask it now via Reddit. Will there be a feature to collect the dust, small portions of crypto left after a trade? Yes, that's something that we've been talking about for a long time. It hasn't gone into development yet, but yes, converting your dust into XCM or potentially other assets as well is definitely something we are going to do at CoinMetro. Okay, now this guy from Reddit has 5 questions. So I'm just going to read these guys and just go about it rather than posting it. It's too long. They'll cover my face. You won't be able to see me. So he has 5 questions. Number 1, when will you know if you can burn the XCMs instead of locking them for 5 years like it was in the white paper? What regulation is it that would actually block this today? So it's not a specific piece of regulation. What it is that there's no regulatory clarity, meaning there's nothing that tells me that if we burn an asset on the behest of a client or because of the action of one client, and we make those results public. so that the public knows, based on whether it's a formula or based simply on information that we give out on a timely schedule, what's going to be burned. That potentially could lead to, I wouldn't call it insider information, but it's essentially giving enough information to someone to be able to front run a bit the market. And that's where most of that regulatory clarity doesn't exist yet. So until there's clarity, meaning they say, yeah, burning's fine. Not necessarily that's nowhere does it say burning is bad right now, but there are implications for how those burns happen and how the information is shared publicly. And I want to be transparent. I want to share the information. So the vaulting basically is essentially the same thing. However, the assets don't actually be destroyed. So they still exist and could potentially go back into circulation at some point in the future. We will continually lock those until we have either regulatory clarity one way or the other. If they say it's not possible, then they'll be locked into infinity. If it is possible and there's enough regulatory clarity, then we burn them. You guys say that fees are used to buy XCM and then 1 to 50% is burned. What does this model look like? What defines the percentage being burned? So right now, as far as I know, on the exchange, we are actually vaulting 100% of fees into XCM. And that's happening in basically after every single transaction. The calculation of how much XCM needs to be purchased is done, and then on a daily basis, or might even be a few times a day, we're buying the XCM based on market buys, basically. We haven't implemented the 1 to 50% because we wanted to reach a certain volume threshold before we did that. The formula, without giving it away, because obviously we're not going to give away the exact formula, I don't think that would make any sense. But essentially, it's based on taking an average of how much exchange volume has been done based on the amount of exchange volume done on a day versus, and that accumulates obviously over the day, based on the average volumes over the last X amount of time. And then when there's higher volumes, more percentage of the fee of fees are actually put into XCM. When there's lower volumes, it's a lower percentage. Also, it depends not only on that, but it also depends on a few other factors, but the majority factor comes from the average daily volume. The biggest reason I invest in CoinMetro and the ICO is because of the tokenomics, where all the fees in the platform be used to market by XCM and would lead to constant buy pressure for XCM. This has not been implemented. It has on exchange, 100% actually of all exchange volumes, of all exchange fees, which is where the majority of our fees sit. All fees that happen on the crypto side eventually fall into that pool. We're still looking at a way in order to make fees from things like debit cards and things like that affect, give utility back to XCM. What we're doing in there is, the tier system, obviously the locking, all those things, and that might not burn or lock XCM for an extended period, but it does take it out of the circulating supply. When are you going to burn the correct amounts of the ICO? Only 326, 320 should have been minted. I don't remember exactly, but mid-330 says it's still going. It's been corrected, I believe, already. And you can see that by looking at the amount of XCM that has been vaulted. Because again, the burning is a bit a gray area in terms of regulatory clarity, but they've already been taken out of circulating supply. Will there be a euro stablecoin as well? I think that would be nice for you guys to offer. We offer fiat to fiat. Fiat to fiat pairs can potentially be done through that Montenegro license, but it would require a CFD license or an FX license in the EU, one we do not have. However, for euro stablecoin, we've been trying to find one, to be honest, and the only thing we found is Stasis, I guess, and their volumes aren't exactly what we'd want to see in a euro stablecoin. Ignium, the CSD that we've partnered with, does have their own Ignium Euro smart token, pegged 1-to-1 to euro value. That is instinctively, I guess, integrated with CoinMetro because of the digital securities marketplace. We may potentially end up listing it as a tradable asset as well. We will see. Moving on, we have two or three more guys that ask questions. Oh, actually, a few more. I'm going to try to breeze through as fast as I can. Nixing. Looking on latest signups, what was the most effective, 5 promotion or the PRQ pump? I would say off the top of my head, PRQ pump probably brought in, along with then the PRQ promotion, which was, I think, 10 euros worth of PRQ. That's brought in more than the 5. Hello, one question. How do you convince my wife that moving a 6-digit sum into CoinMetro is safe and that the bonds or the exchange itself won't go bust? Keep up the good work. All wives are different, but all, I guess, are the same in many ways. So how would I convince my own wife if I wasn't the guy sitting where I am and I was sitting where you are. So, one, I guess, I don't know what that 6-digit sum means to you. If it's a percentage of your portfolio and one that meets your risk threshold and your wife's, I would say that, why are we saying, well, we spend a lot of time making sure, first of all, we have obviously assets on the traditional side and we have assets that sit on the crypto side. Those crypto assets are either held with BitGo, which has never had an issue with hacking or having money stolen out of its cold, hot, or warm wallets. And that's the system we use for the majority of assets held on the CoinMetro exchange. We use a system of multi-sig along with warm and hot wallets through BitGo. We also use them for some of our cold storage. We also have our own Ethereum wallet setup that we built that has multi-sig technology built in. That multi-sig is through MetaMask as well as through Ledger. It's also time-stamped, time-based. So signatures have to come in inside a certain time cycle. And the people that hold access are physically all around the world. So Asia, North America, Europe, etc. So very difficult for someone to gain access to that system. In fact, even when we want to gain access, it can be a bit of a pain. That's how you know your system's secure, when even when you want to gain access, you go, I gotta do this, and again, that's all going to get, and that's one of the reasons, guys, why mass adoption hasn't exactly happened yet. But those are things that places like CoinMetro are working on, making the front layer of crypto as easy as, let's say, traditional finance, or even easier. So as far as the bonds, look, there always is risk with bonds. Bonds can default. That's the way it works. Why won't CoinMetro go bust? Well, why I think it won't go bust is we've built an amazing suite of products, and we're constantly refining them, and we're constantly refining the refinements. And we take all of our feedback that we get from our client base very seriously, and we build things that our clients want to use. And I think that's super important. We've built things that if we had the exposure, we would be bigger than any other company right now in crypto. And that exposure is coming. The digital securities marketplace is going to be a piece of that exposure, but also bringing money in from that bond. Most of those funds are going to pump right into marketing. A very large percentage of those will be pumped into marketing based on all the testing we have done. And I think the future looks really bright for CoinMetro. You can see that the XCM price is starting to recover. We're getting closer and closer to that ICO issuance price. We've listed great products, including things like Parsec, that have done nearly a 5,000x from the lows that they saw on the platform. So I think collectively we're building quite a sustainable ecosystem. And in terms of high risk investments, I think it's on the lower threshold of those high risk investments. And daily interest on that bond, the ability to sell those bonds in the secondary market if you think that things might go awry. Also, they have great ways to protect that investment. Number 6 on this list here. Hi, Kevin. Seeing the impact of Uniswap on Parsec's price and publicity. Let's have one ourselves. It should be. We already are listed on Uniswap. We did not do it ourselves because doing that would also be in a gray area of regulatory, lots of regulatory uncertainty there. If we were in the pool on Uniswap, what that would mean is that we're selling to people we don't know. We haven't KYC'd them. We haven't onboarded them. So we didn't start it. Somebody else did, one of our clients, I would imagine. And so far it's done okay. It's done pretty well. So we're already on Uniswap. You can find us there, XCM. Make sure you find the right one. Make sure you check those contract addresses. I believe the logo is our CoinMetro logo. You'll see it paired against Ether on the Uniswap platform. Hi, Kevin. This is from D984. I think that's Daniel. Hey, Kevin, I hope I'm watching live. If not, I got a question. Can you elaborate on CoinMetro Bond Equity Token? What that you swap to after 2 years? What are the perks, USP, et cetera? Thanks. Okay, so once you're in the bond, you're getting that fixed interest rate. On the CoinMetro bond, it's going to be between 8 and 12%, depending on whether you're an ICO or a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, or just a Joe off the street that buys into the bond. Once now the swap into the growth token will be able, actually, what you can do almost at any point. You don't have to wait for the 2 years. But potentially you could do it at the end of 2 years as well. So at any point, once that secondary market is open, you can sell in the secondary market. Should you choose to do so, you can buy more in the secondary market. Remember that the interest rate is pegged to the issuance price of the bond. So if we're paying 10% and the bond price is 10 euro and the bond price falls to 5 euro in the secondary market and you buy more, when you pay 5 euro, you're going to be getting 10% based on the 10 euro issuance price. So you're 20% on that new money coming in. Same thing happens if it goes higher, you make less. That should make, over time, the price quite stable at roughly 10 euros. When you swap into the growth token, you get equity-like, you basically get access to the fruits, the equity-like fruits of the asset. What does that mean? That means for CoinMetro, you are going to get things like dividend payments, when and if we make dividend payments. You will also gain access to revenue share possibilities. Now, we haven't really charted out exactly how that's gonna work. We have ideas whether we throw in some revenue share payments, probably once a year, maybe twice a year. Dividends, when and if. Now, dividends are probably a few years in the future, but revenue share could definitely happen quicker than that. And those are things that we're planning for that growth token. As well, you become essentially an equity holder. So you own a piece of the company. That means whatever we decide to do, whether that be revenue, whether that be dividend payments, whether that be a sale of the company at some point, you would basically be able to pick up some of that money based on your ownership. So Rush Fruits Us, Jesus. Are there plans for Canadian dollar? Yes, there are. We're working on that. I think the more and more people that ask, we on the markets page, we're going to be revamping the market page over the next couple of weeks. We will list assets that we haven't listed yet, and we'll ask people to vote. We will also list fiats, and CAD will be one of them. Once we get enough support behind any one of those assets, we will list it. I'm the cool Estonium. Okay. When Moon, just kidding. But on a more serious note, when Moon, nah man, just joking around. I'm more interested in the evolvement, okay, of the platform. So all jokes aside, when Moon. On a more serious note, what are your plans to compete with Binance? I'm feeling something is in the pipeline and the sales might catch wind. Here's an answer to my own question. To compete with Binance is integrity. Okay. So yeah, look, I think, by the way, there is no 2FA. Should I be worried? There is 2FA. Maybe you just haven't activated it. DEX, I think, is part of the future. I do think you're going to have, just like you're going to have a choice between fiat currencies and cryptocurrencies, rather than having to just use one, decentralized versus centralized, both on the CBDC side as well as the private side. I do think DEXs will be part of that future. I think DEXs play a big role in allowing us to show regulators that we don't necessarily need them. And that because current regulations to many, except for KYC and AML, don't necessarily apply to DEXs. So I do think that's part of the future. However, I do think centralized exchanges will be a big part of the future as well. How do we compete with Binance? Doing what we're doing and make sure people know about it. That's it. We're already better than Binance on almost every front. What we're not better on Binance is letting people know who we are. And that's because Binance is simply bigger than we are. But times change and things will change. So it's about us getting the word out and staying who we are and staying who we are when we started this company. Yes, integrity is a piece of that. Transparency is a piece of that, as well as, you know, being regulatory compliant, building that base that isn't going to fall apart when more regulations come into the market. A few more questions here, guys, on Reddit. Kevin, oh geez, my mouse is not wanting to cooperate. I have been promoting CoinMetro actively on 4chan. There I found an interesting accusation. Do you want to defend yourself? Sure. Kevin MURCKO stole the CoinMetro idea from me. Listen here, Anons. Before you make a fatal mistake in buying XCM and supporting CoinMetro, Kevin MURCKO was a scammer who stole the idea of his exchange from me back in 2016 when we worked together on building and designing a website originally meant to be a casino to rob money out of crypto investors. Just to brighten up the mood even further, made me chuckle. Yeah, I don't even know where those accusations come from, to be honest. CoinMetro actually started out as a company called Mining Coin, miningco.in. It was going to be the first kind of mining company that allowed you to just rent space and mine. And then that basically morphed into what is CoinMetro, an exchange. Evan Griffin, who's the other majority shareholder at CoinMetro, was there since the beginning. It didn't happen in 2016. Mining Coin started in 2014, if I'm not mistaken. And that morphed into I never had any plans to build a casino to rob anybody or the crypto investors or otherwise. So yeah, that is one big piece of bullshit. Whoever wrote that, I would love to have them call me on Zoom and we'll record it and then everybody can see the conversation. So let them know to get in touch with me so we can discuss this on Zoom. You should start looking into collab with Crypto Chico. He calls out Binance regularly, big channel. Anybody who wants to make an invite to Crypto Chico, I am down to do it. Let's get it done. So there you go. Okay, coming back up. Okay, guys. So let's get into a bit of the AMA here, and then we can always pop back and pop back and get some news stories. And okay, one question. Okay, this is from Brian. Let's see what we got. But I'm fast. I'm hiding from Priest. Okay. What is 7 times bigger marketing FUD? How much is that? What is 7 times bigger marketing fund? Did I say 7 times bigger? I don't know what that would, because right now I think in our marketing budget we have about 50K. So I guess that'd be 350K. But I don't know if that was really your question, Brian. So sorry about that. I guess the Priest gotcha. Terrible. Some of us have been there. Can you get your thoughts on listing Cadena? What do you see in them? Where do you see them in 2 to 3 years? And if CM will use any of their technology? Hey, Rich. So Cadena is doing a lot of similar things that Ignium, the CSD, and CoinMetro are looking to do, but they're doing it from a bit of a different angle. They have people on there that have experience at the SEC, JP Morgan, quants, also on the regulatory and legal side. I think a lot of the stuff they're trying to do is great. With multiple chains so that that they can speed things up. The ability to, they're really focused on getting financial assets on chain. They also have a bit of a side project that's on and off to do peer-to-peer security settlement, which is obviously something that Ignium is quite interested in. I think that, with Cadena, Quant, Ignium, and other similar companies, all looking to kind of make the same fixes to the underlying market. And I do think that they're all going to be successful in their own right. They're all attacking it from a different angle. I think in 2 to 3 years, Cadena could potentially have some really big partnerships and be facilitating some transactions, even through Ignium systems. So yes, CoinMetro directly using their technology, I do think there is potential there, especially once there's talk already about Cadena and us doing something in the DeFi space, allowing for basically non-custodial deposits of stable coins through their chains. So yes, the answer to that question is yes, CoinMetro will use some of their technology. We're kind of working on how we're going to do that now. And I think we'll expand more into DeFi with Cadena, which is cool. And Ignium as well. Ignium as well, I would expect in the next 2 or 3 years, we'll definitely be using some of that technology as well. And I do think they're going to do, well, that's why we listed them. We wouldn't have listed them if we didn't think of it, if we thought otherwise. Daniel P., I hate that I have to withdraw to my bank to spend my money. I love that it's so fast now, but maybe, just maybe, I'll be getting a debit card soon. Maybe, just maybe, Daniel. Maybe, just maybe. By the way, guys, I see a good amount of viewers. That's awesome. Make sure you click those thumbs up button, those heart buttons, and all that good stuff. Make us feel good over here. Make other people see that we're doing good stuff over here, so they come in and maybe they learn something. I don't know. Maybe they just listen to me talk gibberish for an hour, but maybe. So as a debit card, yes. So we submitted the documents that were requested from our banking as a service provider. They have a few things they have to submit as well to Visa to get this done. I'm going to get an update on Tuesday on where they are with that. Once they submit, it's 45 days. So we're waiting for them to submit. They may need additional information from us. Who knows? But as we know right now, we've submitted everything they asked for and a bit more because we like to be thorough. Are there any projects beside Tangible and CM Bond planned to be launched in the security marketplace? Dav. Yes, Dav, there is. Had a call yesterday with a Mexican resort company that owns $3 billion in properties, looking to do a 20 million raise for a property in Tulum. That one's in its infancy. We'll see if that one takes place, but that was one call that I had over the past week. We also have a credit company out of Estonia that does short-term loans. We also have 2 litigation financing projects. Basically, you want to sue somebody, somebody thinks you're probably going to win. You don't have the money to pay the lawyers. They pay the lawyers. They get a chunk of the settlement when you win. So 2 of those. One is very interesting, tied to crypto. Law firm out of Australia with a class action lawsuit against Google and Facebook for not allowing crypto advertisements, blaming them for the 2017 crash. So quite cool. So anyway, a few things in the pipeline. That's not all of them, but that's a few of them. So yes, there will be more. These are just the first 2. What's your feeling about the recent XCM price increase? Do you think this is sustainable and the result of Uniswap mostly? I think it's just a result of more eyes on CoinMetro. And those definitely came as a result probably of Uniswap through Parsec. It's like the 12th time I mentioned Parsec. I see people writing Parsec in the chat here. Parsec. Fucking awesome. I'll definitely talk about them a bit later. But yeah, it definitely had some indirect had to do with Uniswap. Not because Uniswap's so great, not because Uniswap's so awesome, not because Uniswap, but Uniswap has a lot of users, has a lot of eyes. And when things get listed at Uniswap, people pay attention. People wanted to get into Parsec, found out about it, then found out they could go through CoinMetro, get some euros, get some pounds, etc. And that obviously caused some spillover, and that caused some people to buy XCM. So the more people that know about us, the more accounts we open, the more people buy XCM. That's just the way it works, simple math. And I think definitely Uniswap was a indirect cause of that for sure. Null Armoro, thoughts on Parsec integrating, partnering with Bitfury? I think Parsec has done so many. I wish some of the partnership announcements they listed in the past, they were doing now. In fact, Parsec, if you're listening, Andre, Tom, Jesus. It's because his last name's Timmer, like Timmerman, something like that. Not Timmer. Anyway, it's been a long day, guys, sorry. Andre, Tom, listen, guys, take all the partnerships you guys have done, because some of them are really freaking awesome, and go ahead and just do like a collage and throw that bad boy up on social media. I know I'm gonna like it. I know I'm gonna retweet it. I know I'm gonna like it and heart it or whatever you gotta do on all these media platforms. But I'm gonna do that, and I'm sure many other people will, just to show the depth of the partnerships that you guys are involved in. Because I think if they had started to come out now rather than a year ago, the buying pressure would probably be ridiculous, even though it's not so bad right now. So partnering with Bitfury, great. Look, the more data that Parsec has access to, the more people that use and the more people that create triggers for different pieces of data, the more people can copy those triggers, the more the data is being actually used and being actioned on, the better it is for everybody. So I think Bitfury, obviously big in the mining game, and they have a lot of data. And knowing where Bitfury's funds are moving, knowing where those mined Bitcoin, for example, are traveling, pretty good information that I'm sure a lot of people would want to know about. So I think it's quite cool. And I think partnerships like that are only going to make PRQ a bigger heavyweight in the industry. Hey, Kevin, thanks for the AMA. No problem. Jorn Schmidt. I just learned about N exchange from Netherlands, also with a secondary marketplace via an MTF. If you know this platform, what is the difference between Ignium CM and this platform? Actually don't. I think you might, let me hold on. Let's have a look. They are an Amsterdam-based company with a hyphen. Very nice. Okay, a regulated market, full-service exchange platform, tokenized securities and digital assets. Decentralized exchange, okay, regulation. I don't know why they, okay, regulated market. I don't know why they have a MTF license if they're going decentralized, but okay. Community building, invest in the market for your interest, okay. Benefits of next change, great reduced funding cost, created shareholders, okay. Spark, Okay, so I would say from the MTF side, there's no difference in terms of what we're doing. Couldn't mention a difference. However, when you combine that MTF with Ignium, where Ignium's goal is to do cross-border real-time settlements of all those assets, then it becomes a much different ballgame. So what CoinMetro is doing in this whole kind of digital securities marketplace with the front end is cool. But when you combine it with what Ignium's doing, it's groundbreaking because it allows people from all over the world. Now, yes, the first two issuances are, we have 16 or 17 EU countries plus the US, et cetera. But we're going to be building that out to more and more countries over time. But it allows for real-time settlement of all those assets. It doesn't just focus on secondary market trading. Secondary market trading is great, and definitely secondary is needed. Even in traditional markets, secondary is what's lacking. That's why liquidity issues happen even in traditional markets, because they're segmented. When you unsegment the markets, when you allow them to connect globally, you create a vastly different market. And that's what we're doing in collaboration with Ignium. So I think that's where the main difference is. Look, there's going to be lots of MTFs. There's going to be lots of secondary market platforms. There already are secondary platforms. They just suck. Why? Because there's no connectivity globally. Again, that's where the partnership with Ignium comes in. I'm going to miss all you guys when you disappear in the ocean of new clients CM will get. We'll still be here. I'll still be here. Swimming, but be here. I'll be here. PRQ and Bitfury is a legit partnership, not an integration. Check their videos. There are multiple mentions. Yep. Anyway, like I said, they have to integrate to be a partner. So I guess at the same time, but I think all of Parsec's integrations are much more deeper than just an API connection. And that's why I would tell those guys, Andre, dude, post this big collage of all the partnerships. Handle it. I'm telling you, people need to know. Maybe you already did it. Maybe I'm just speaking to the choir now. I don't know. But if you didn't do it, please, important. What will you be able to do with equity in the company? What will we be able to do with equity in the company we will get from the bronze? Well, you will have that growth token will be sellable on a secondary market as well. Obviously, over time, as the company grows, the value of that growth token you would assume would grow as well. It gives you access to all the fruits of being a shareholder, which can be dividends, which could potentially be revenue share, which could potentially be money when and if we ever sell a piece of the company, for example, or which is not really in the cards, but hey, you never know what can happen. Somebody comes along with a massive offer and says they're going to keep, CoinMetro as is and allow the regulatory and blah, blah, and help us build it out to a brand we know it all should be and deserves, then potentially that could happen. If it did happen and you were a growth token holder, you would get a piece of the action. Any other potential TSO, I guess STO in the pipeline? What is the plan? Okay, I think, answered that one, Bradley, so you can rewind if you missed it. The like button, people. Yep, thank you guys, appreciate that. Yeah, the more likes, the happier we all are, the more we do these shows, and the happier I am doing them, I think. Yeah. And when I'm happy, forehead looks pretty good today, I don't know. I haven't gotten anybody commenting on the forehead today, which makes me a bit upset, but that's okay. Can I please have 750 XCM so I can have 100K? Exactly, thank you. Taco. All right, Taco, look, DM me, brother. I'll see if I can help you out. How's that? DM me. I'm going to check your account, though. DM me with your registered email address on CoinMetro. I'll have a look. Why would we need a stable coin when we have fiat? Well, some people like stable. Some people don't want to be into fiat. Some people, for tax implications as well. Some countries, as soon as you go into fiat, you'd be required. That's a tax event. If you stay into crypto, it may not be a tax event. There are reasons to have stable coins. Definitely fiat makes it a lot easier to come into the market and eventually get out of the market. But while you're in the market, those stable coins help you, in some instances, reduce your tax exposure. Also, there may be other reasons. Obviously, if you're in euro, it's not that easy to take euro off the platform and send it to a third party or someone else, or move it or send it to a wallet somewhere else to make a payment. Debit card makes it a bit easier, but with stable coins makes it even slightly more easy. I'm gonna quote my buddy Musab on this, but he mentioned something about an actual Facebook partnership. What is that about? Facebook partnership for who? Got to clarify that one. Digging that shirt. CoinMetro merch when? CoinMetro merch is online, brother. CoinMetro.store. CoinMetro.store. Shoot over there, have a look. Eventually, we're going to integrate it with the platform. You'll be able to use XCM. You'll be able to win T-shirts and all kinds of mugs and all kinds of nonsense while you're trading. Not there yet, but we will get there. Do you plan on decreasing the amount of XCM required for the different tiers? Because 10 to 50K costs a lot, especially once the price rises. We will, over time, more than likely decrease a little bit, depending on price. Right now, I think that's what, 600 to 3,000 euro. But if you're in that tier 3, imagine you're getting 4% more on the bond, for example. So that might, depending on how much investment you would be looking to make, that you could potentially get that back even in the first year of the bond, if not even sooner. You also save substantially on your trading fees, so it depends on your volume. So I still think that they're relatively where they should be. However, yes, they will potentially, there is an equivalent euro value that we like to keep more or less, and a max euro value we'd like to keep within those tiers. I agree with you 100%, no to cat. Is CoinMarket's XCM volume accurate? Well, let's have a look right now at CoinMarketCap. And let's see. Should be accurate. Let's put it that way. Yep, looks pretty accurate to me. I think we even have Uniswap now here on markets. Let's see. Obviously, I don't know if theirs is accurate, but I potentially think it is. So yeah, I would say it looks pretty accurate to me, and they are connected directly to our API. So. There has been cases where it hasn't been accurate, but I would say it probably is. Can you tell us what's coming for CM in September? Oh, well, one thing I have to mention in September for all you PRQ Marines out there, and the XCM, what do we call? Are they PRQ Marines? Do we have official name for these guys yet? Are they PRQ Marines, PRQ men, PRQ people, PRQ saviors, astronauts? PRQ astronauts kind of cool. Are there astronauts out there? Like, man, I don't know. Anyway, so one big thing that's happening is in September, we'll roll out a trading competition. big prizes coming up in PRQ, in Parsec tokens for that trading competition. It's going to be a big one for us. It'll be the biggest trading competition we've ever run. And it's all in support of Parsec, great company. Again, I'm gonna give you a quick blurb on Parsec because I think a lot of people came here from Parsec. So here we go, guys. So Parsec, what does Parsec do? Look, in the simplest way possible, I'm gonna tell you what Parsec does. And it's not simple at all, but I'm gonna break it down for you. So everybody talks about how there's all this data on chain, all this data on blockchain. It's all transparent, it's all immutable, it's all great. All that data sitting there. There's no, it denotes transparency, et cetera. And that's true. But how do you gain access to that data? How do you use that data? All it is a bunch of hashes. It's a bunch of hashes in a block explorer somewhere. How do you actually take that data, understand what that data means, and use it to your advantage? Well, right now, you probably don't. There are things like whale alerts and things like that that try to help people understand when assets move from one account to another. But it's pretty high level, right? It's pretty high level. It doesn't really go granular. It doesn't really take that data and really tell you what it means. Income Parsec. So what Parsec does is it takes data not only on-chain, but also from the mempool. What's the mempool? The mempool is where all data rolls in before it goes on-chain. It's the memory pool. I don't know if you're old enough, but if you used to have to print on a USB connected printer, or man, you remember those like 15-pin cables? Bullshit. Used to get stuck in the spool. So like it would take forever to something to print because it was stuck in the spool. Well, this is basically the spool for crypto, right? It's a memory pool. It's a pool of memory where lots of data sits before it's pushed on chain. Imagine if you could gain access to that data and make that data actionable and digestible. What do I mean by digestible and actionable? I mean, what if you would know when funds were floating into a Uniswap pool and when people were front running in the Uniswap book by analyzing contracts and analyzing transactions in the mempool and on chain? What if you could be alerted to that? What would that mean for you? What if you could just, from a basic level, understand when somebody gains access to one of your crypto wallets? What if you know when certain size deposits or withdrawals come out of those addresses that you own? What if you could understand when money was flowing from whales to different wallets, but also understand if that when money hits that wallet, what's the probability of them selling or buying or selling off those assets? And if they sell those assets, what's the usual percentage decrease of price when it happens? What if you could know all that from one dashboard? Well, that's Parsec. Parsec takes all the information that sits on chain, puts it into a nice edible little piece of candy for you, lets you digest it, and then action. Allows you to create actions from that little bit of information that is this entirety of information condensed into one little thing. It's amazing. It's amazing. And it can potentially be bigger than all those guys out there. All those Oracle companies, it could potentially be bigger than all of them. Why? Oracles are great. But oracles simply pass information from one thing to another. Parsec takes that information and all the other information and lets you do stuff with it. Fucking amazing. Okay, so anyway, that's one big thing in September is the Parsec competition, PRQ competition here on CoinMetro. Also, guys, USD coming in September, big one. Not just USD through some 16th party or 8 parties where you got to send to like some unnamed trust account that eventually makes it. No. This is USD direct via SWIFT, via ACH in the US, and domestic wire in the US. It's coming in September, and that means USD trading pairs on almost everything we offer. It's going to be big, breaking into the US market. We can onboard people in the US in almost every state except for 3, Washington State, Hawaii, and New York, because they require specific licensing. Hawaii may come onto the board because we can go through a sandbox that's happening actually with the regulator in Hawaii. I've already been in touch with them, debating whether we do it or not, see how much exposure we would actually want or need in Hawaii. But that's some of the things coming in September. Obviously, the first issuance, the tangible bond, as well as CoinMetro bond, all coming in September. BizDev, that Tulum deal, potential deal is part of the BizDev, so that's one thing. Staking, we already talked about this one, but staking coming on Tezos, ability to stake in a tram, also something that's coming, not necessarily BizDev, but hey. Trying to think on the BizDev side. Can't think of anything right now additional, but if something pops into my head, I'll shoot it out there. I saw that German financial regulators are evaluating tokenized securities. Are you working with other regulators, and how much progress have we made? Is your partnership with Montenegro exclusive? We helped Montenegro build the sandbox. It is not exclusive. I don't think it would make sense for it to be exclusive. Competition is good. Everybody learns from competition. I have no problem if someone competes with us in Montenegro. In fact, I would welcome it. I think anybody that specifically gets an exclusive partnership just to stifle their competition is probably going to fail in the end. So as far as, I mean, we have a great relationship with Montenegro, so that's cool. I think we have a better relationship than most companies that would be going there. Are we at work? Well, we're about to start talking again with the Estonian regulator on the Ignium side. CoinMetro side, we've been in discussions with a few regulators, not necessarily about securities marketplace. That's going to come later. The funding from the bond will help us get that coveted MTF license, and that is what's going to fuel us talking to more regulators and expanding this product into additional marketplaces. Hi, Kevin. Can you have limited edition merch on the CM store? Sure, we can do that as well. The initial idea was to have one T-shirt a month, but I just went wild with the designs. So yes, we definitely could, and I think we will in the future. Can you also can also go like that newest Kevin Explains Crypto? Right on, Cody. I don't know what reference to that was, but okay. Every time someone brings up a 4chan post, I cringe. Yeah, well. Hey, Kevin, how was new fiat currencies performed? AUD, SEK, pound. Pound and AUD doing quite well. Deposits coming in, rolling out. Not so much action on SEK so far. So what's that influencer's name? The guy that's from Sweden? Jesus, I've met him once or twice. Ivan? Is it Ivan? Is it Ivan? Yeah, Ivan on tech. Yeah, come on, Ivan, man. What the hell? Sweden, bro. SEK. Let's do this. What are you waiting for? Jump on into the pool. Where do you see the PRQ price going this year, next year? I'm not going to speculate on PRQ, but I think they have great potential. That's as far as I'll go with that one. As far as Ethereum goes, look, Ethereum's powering for better or for worse, for scalability, gas prices, all this stuff. If you think that, you know, Ethereum was worth a lot more back 2017 with gas prices extremely lower. Gas prices are higher, miners are making more money, people are using this system at levels we've never seen, and the price is where it is. So obviously there's some divergence happening. And I think that divergence needs to play out. Yes, high gas fees are not the best thing in the world when using this service, but look, there's a lot of guys, there's a lot of chains trying to do financial products. There's a lot of chains trying to do what Ethereum did. No one's winning yet. Ethereum's still winning, man. So I would expect to see some big price movements on Ethereum unless we see a major shift on usage. Any updates on USD coming in September? That's the update I'm given. Ever thought about a collab with Chico Crypto? I haven't thought about it. I think it's been mentioned. If anybody has connection to Crypto Chico, tell them that we need to do something. I'm willing to do something with Crypto Chico. I've seen one or two of the shows briefly. I'm willing to go on there. We can destroy Binance and have a kumbaya, a fire with some marshmallows and all that nice stuff. So yeah, either he reaches out to me or somebody reaches out and gets him to kind of say that he'd be interested, and I'll go ahead and reach out. How do you manage your time between CoinMetro, Ignium, and FXPig? FXPig, I'm off of. I have a just board member seat there now, so not much time spent. Between Ignium and CoinMetro, I would say right now it's about 60-40, sometimes 70-30, sometimes 50-50. But at least with securities marketplace right now, it's definitely 50-50 because there's so much happening between the two entities. But I just try and bide my time. Look, normally, if in 3 or 4 hours a day, I can knock out a lot of stuff if I focus. So I do that twice. I get my 8-hour day. I knock it out for both companies. How much daily volume do you need to break even in cost? If it's just exchange volume, 5 million a day. However, we make money from other sources. So it could even be 2 million, could be 1 million. It all depends on where that volume is coming from. We make more money on margin, for example, than we make more money on tram, for example, than we make on margin. We make more money on margin than we make on exchange. We make more money on the dashboard widget than we make on exchange. So it really depends on where it's coming from. PRQ, I will second that. And looks like young GRP is thirding it. So that's nice. How safe is putting money in tram? Can you get big losses from a reckless manager? Maybe you can put a feature that shows the risk level. Yeah, risk level is, unfortunately, until something happens, it's a hard thing. You can use like Sharpe ratios and things from traditional finance, but those really aren't all that indicative either when you're talking about a volatile market. So safe in terms of your money just evaporating because somebody steals it, it's pretty safe. Safe in terms of a manager losing money, no guarantees can be made from our side, because a manager can have an absolute brilliant track record for 10 years and then 1 year stuff just blows up. It can have a brilliant track record for 2 weeks and it blows up. It can have a shit track record for 6 months and all of a sudden starts to do great for years. In my experience with managed accounts, the majority of them will end up failing. But that comes from FX, which is a cutthroat market, because of because of so much competition from institutionals, that your basic kind of chart reading skills aren't going to work unless you're very, very good at spotting movements and spotting different things in the market. Just looking at Fibonacci and support resistance, you're going to get slaughtered over time. Here, that's a bit different. So I do think that the trams we have currently have some legs, and they've done pretty well, and they've been able to manage their risk. Also, the limitation of collateral has allowed them to manage their own risks quite nicely. But there is risk. So I would say with any tram, do not put money in tram that if you lost it would drastically change your lifestyle. That's praise the forehead. Okay, right on. Okay, so we've updated USD, KDA. KDA market maker. So we're working with KDA on that. They had a call last week. I haven't followed up with, or earlier this week, I wasn't on the call. I'll follow up and find out. Please tag me on Telegram and I'll update you there. But we're definitely doing what we can to get some market makers onto Cadena. We need crypto payments or something else for the store. Wanted to buy a few items, but got none of the available payment methods. Hey, Matthias, yeah, I'm going to add in an optional payment method that'll allow you to basically use XCM or crypto. I'll try to get that done by next week. Mobile app overhaul is in swing, not yet full swing, but it's in swing. It'll happen in September, probably towards the end of the month. Will you ever have a whale tier? What do you mean by that? Like tier 3, then tier whale? Maybe, we'll see. Matthias, take a look at Stop. It's newborn and high potential payment gateway project. Okay, right on. So to clarify in tiers, is your goal to keep the top tier at a higher value? Might be more lucrative value to allow tier 3 to become more like tier 5. Yeah, we might add additional tiers. I'm not saying we won't add additional tiers, but I'm just saying that we don't want to make it too inexpensive to become top tier. So yeah, what you're saying makes sense, and that's probably something that'll happen in the future. What do you think about fractional reserve cryptocurrency? Well, everybody, the Bitcoin white paper came out because everybody wanted to get away from because Satoshi wanted to get away from fractional reserve and centralized banking. And now crypto, as I predicted back in 2017, nice pat on the back for me, is gone centralized for the most part because, well, regulations, are regulations. And unfortunately, that's how things tend to work. However, I do think there is a future for decentralization. Fractional reserve cryptocurrency. Look, CBDCs, depending on how they're used, will be fractional reserve cryptocurrency. So if CBDCs are only used, as they probably will be in most first world countries initially, just to move money between Fed and central banks, you would assume that money that's loaned out on a daily basis to banks would probably be digitalized as well, which means fractional reserve would run on the back of CBDCs. What do I think about that? I think it's an improvement to the system they have now. But do I believe in, look, if fractional reserve didn't exist, the world would be a much different place than it is now. Yes, there are financial crises, et cetera, but how do you think most countries pull themselves out of financial crises? How do you think loans are provided from other countries to other countries? How do you think aid is provided? How do you think you're able to buy a home? How do you think you're able to buy a car? It's all based on fractional reserve. It's all based on creating credit money. And that credit money system works quite well until it doesn't. But when it doesn't work, it still kind of works. As long as you can mitigate the issues of hyperinflation, which when you have a reserve currency like the US dollar is pretty easy to mitigate hyperinflation. So I don't think the world's going to change from one day to the next. So fractional reserve cryptocurrency will exist on the back of CBDCs. At some point, having a fixed currency, the reason why we went off the gold standard, guys, one of the reasons why we did that is because what happens when there's a crisis and you need more money and you simply don't have the capital to acquire more gold and you have to make the money to acquire more gold? What happens when the gold supply, basically, there isn't enough gold supply, at least in bars, to be able to support the amount of money you need for whatever crisis, like the COVID crisis, for example? What happens? Well, you're up shit's river without a paddle. So I don't see in the near future, let's say, a scarcity element being added to CBDCs, so fractional reserve will be there, and I think it's probably going to be the way we go. My personal thought is that the way modern economics work, there isn't many other ways that we can get around that, at least in an understandable fashion that wouldn't cause some type of calamity somewhere in the world while the change was happening. Will that change happen? It may happen in the future. The digital change is definitely going to happen. The move away from credit money, that's going to be a harder change. Giving away a Lambo, nice. Okay. What are you at volume on PRQ? I don't know. You can probably check. You can check inside Telegram. Just use the conductor bot for PRQ Ether. Not sure exactly where it sits today. I think it's around 50,000 euro or something. Would be nice shilling XCM instead of PRQ. They had their X40. XCM is going down. Well, it's a completely different animal. Obviously, PRQ is getting a lot of that DeFi push, which is great for them. I think we will see similar pushes, guys, but it's going to be for different reasons. But hey, man, we're up 2 or 3x in the past month or so, and I think we have some wings. You can't go up in a straight line. If something goes up in a straight line, it's going to fall even harder. You need to have pullbacks. Pullbacks pull you back to liquidity that's needed to go higher. If you continually going higher, basically you're losing momentum. You will lose volume, and eventually when the volume needs to be found, it's going to be found at a much lower level. So pullbacks are great. Embrace pullbacks. Kevin, do you know when Parsec will be listed on new exchanges? I don't actually. I do think that exchanges will probably list them all by themselves once they start to see the gains that it's seen, and it starts to be seen by more and more players in the market. But I don't have any information on that. Ask on the Parsec channel. They may have some information. And I mean on Telegram, by the way. Yep, those will definitely be in the pipeline. They may not be the first to be released, but they will definitely be in the pipeline. So IEOs on the CoinMetro Direct, nothing on the utility side. Securities marketplace is the focus now, and I've mentioned some that are coming on the securities marketplace. Yep, same to you, Daniel P. That's correct. Are you still hesitant on listing? Yeah, to be honest, I'm not. I think it's a bit of a meme at this point. But there are people that trade it, that's for sure. So, you know, I guess we can put it up for a vote, guys. When we get that new markets page rolled out, we'll put Satoshi's vision on that markets page and let people vote. People voted in, we'll list it. And that is cool. Yeah, but I don't know, honestly. Not well. That might be another one. I guess there's probably a few guys from Sweden. I was talking about the crypto dude. I think it's Ivan on tech. Yeah, Ivan is Swedish. There you go. Do you have any plans to partner with traditional banks? Many are hostile to customers depositing crypto gains, which creates a barrier to investment. We are partnering with banks in what way? To offer them services, not at this current juncture, but we do have bank accounts. We are, we do operate with banks, and very shortly we will be launching IBAN accounts for our users, which means you'll be able to have a debit card and an IBAN account linked to your CoinMetro account. So that means when you send money out of that platform, you'll be sending it from an account in your name, held by a UK regulated entity. So it won't come from a crypto company. Thus, you probably would eliminate these issues with banks not wanting to accept crypto gains because they wouldn't know that they're coming from a crypto platform. We're just using euro anyways, no bank fees in Sweden. Okay, can you talk a bit about marketing incoming in September? It will be a bigger push, and obviously with money coming in from the bonds, we'll make it even bigger. And gains in euro usually means gains in second. Okay. All right, guys, I get one offer per show, so. All right, thanks for the DM, I'll check it later. You said you have a bare bones mobile app in August. What happened with that? Well, what happened with that was securities marketplace and some other things that popped up, some things on the USD side that need to be implemented so that September was still on track. Some other things that popped up with the dashboard widget, our CTO going on vacation, a few of those things. But I think what we're gonna do is sidestep the complete bare bones and go to V1 and have that released later in September. Any plans of creating some kind of payment gateway for ordinary services like crypto, PayPal? We already have so much on our plate, guys. I think once people are aware of what we're doing, we'll have so much to do that will become a secondary thing. I mean, I'd love to add more products, but first I want to see lots of happy users on our current products. And all we need to do that is this marketing push. So we got to sell some bonds, get that marketing push happening. And we're going to do that in September. So it's something we thought about doing, and we have worked on it a bit. And it actually, the securities marketplace has a payment gateway for crypto. So it's something that we've already done partially. It would just be about repackaging that for others. And that's something that's in the cards, not yet officially in the pipeline. The CHAMs are really cool, but how do you, with your trading experience, defend them with the knowledge that buy and hold is almost all cases beat any active trading? That depends, because when you're in a tram, you are holding. What you're doing is, look, if you're holding Bitcoin, for example, but then you use margin, which is what tram does, to buy and sell in the range when Bitcoin's in a range and just simply get more Bitcoin, you're obviously going to do better than the guy that just holds one Bitcoin, because you wouldn't have just one. You might have 1.2, then 1.5, then 1.7, then 1.8, then 1.9, then 2.6, etc. So the defense is pretty easy. Trams are there. The assets that people put as collateral don't actually get traded. They're there as collateral. They sit there. We provide the credit that's needed. We provide the margin that's needed in order to make the trades. And when you make profits, so if the tram is holding Bitcoin, but they're trading in that Bitcoin, or holding Ethereum, and they're trading in that range, and they're making additional Ethereum, well, they're holding more Ethereum than they would have if they just held it. So I think it's an absolute perfect strategy to combine with a pure holding strategy. Any plans on creating some kind of payment gateway? Okay, so we already talked about that. Kevin, take a look at Stop. Okay, I'll have a look. Good job, Kevin, good work. Thank you very much. Whatever we do, don't list BSV. Okay, yep, well, again, we'll put it up to a vote. I would be on the same side as you, Murdoch. We'll see what everybody else thinks. Will you raise the 50K limit on margin trading? We will probably, potentially with the adding of limited collateral onto the tram. How high do you envision the CoinMetro average volume per day a year from now? That depends on a lot of things, but I think it will be in the millions. So don't want to put an exact pinpoint on that, but I think we're going to be sustainable and profitable within a year from now, especially with the push from the bond. When that means that volumes are going to rise. Is KYC working for everybody now? Also, you guys are not starting marketing before polishing the UX, right? What exactly about the UX links? Because, we get a lot of great comments about it. We get a few people that don't like it. We get a few people that have issues, but the vast majority like it. And I think we've made lots of improvements on there that make a big difference. So we constantly polish the UX. Look, if you, at some point in business, it's like, oh, not ready yet, 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 not ready yet. And you keep moving, you never, there's a saying in the US, right? Which is, it's time to shit or get off the pot. And that's it. So we have great products, whether the UX might not be completely polished in your eyes or maybe some other people's eyes, it's a great product. And if we don't push it now, let's say, then we may not get the chance to push it. So I think we will push it, but we will continue to refine it. So as we asked before, I know you made some comments about the KYC, and the onboarding actually is being done right now. That's something that's being worked on right now. New onboarding is going to roll out in days. And that's gonna refine probably some of the things you're talking about. And in terms of KYC not working, what exactly is not working for you? Could it be the SMS? There's a problem with Twilio, who's our SMS provider. We know about it. SMS will actually be removed from being obligatory in the new KYC update. Could you start offering topping up the account with Skrill, PayPal, Pioneer? Skrill, we approached PayPal, approached us. They like us. They want to work with us, but they need to see higher incoming deposits. They want to see at least $1 million per month for 3 months. I think this month we'll probably hit that. Next month, as long as we hit it, we can approach them again. Skrill, we talked to. Skrill is being a bit of difficult to deal with. They don't like some of our products, and they think that we need legal opinions when we do not, when we already have opinions that say that we do not need legal opinions in other jurisdictions. And Payoneer, not going to happen probably. But PayPal potentially will happen in the future. Oliver said yesterday the marketing budget for September will be raised by 7x. Cool. So they have an allocation, and I guess they're just upping that allocation with finance. So way to go on that. I don't know what that means in terms of money-wise, because there's different allocations for different pieces of marketing. You'd have to ask Oliver about that one. I'll confirm with our CFO as well. Most of the mobile, I've seen some pics of UI. Oh, mobile, yeah. Well, mobile for sure, guys. I'm not a fan of our current app, not at all. So use the mobile version of the desktop. So use your browser rather than using the app. 100%, it's way better. But yes, the UI updates, the completely new app will happen in September, and it's sorely needed, and it's much, 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 much better. Appreciate that, Dazan. Jeff, I had a great experience with your customer service team. William helped me to correct the mistake I made. I heard about that one, and hats off to William. William, if you're listening, hats off from me to you. Hopefully one day soon we'll meet up in the Talent office, and we can do like a COVID elbow shake or something. I don't know, but great job, William. Our support team has been doing a great job. William, Pamela, Rahina, Bobik, everybody, Denise, as well as Michael. Everybody's been doing a fantastic job, but definitely hats off to William on this one. That's how we want to treat every one of our clients. So that's our goal, that's our mission, and slowly but surely we're getting there. Do you think you've progressed at about the rate you've expected in terms of volume when you started working on CoinMetro? No, I think I envision we would have progressed faster, but lots of things happen in the market, lots of things happen at CoinMetro. I think we're in a very good place. Lots of avenues are joining. Slowly but surely, we're creating a fantastic company, both the people inside, our client base, our community. You remember those times when the community was just like so toxic, right? Well, now I think our community is fucking awesome. And I think it was awesome back then too, but there was lots of toxicity that floated around. We got rid of all that. I think, I think we're doing a great job. I think collectively, this is our mission, guys. Collectively, we are the future of finance. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think it's the truth, and we're getting there. And I think we're very close to seeing a massive change in CoinMetro. And September is going to be a big catalyst to that. So, can you explain what exactly is happening to Seiko token? Sure, quickly, John K. So it's a bond. It's a convertible bond that'll be issued on the back of a Japanese real estate venture. That Japanese real estate venture is a small ski resort, 8 units, 3-bedroom units in Niseko, Japan, about a 10-second drive, maybe a 10-minute walk from the biggest gondola to get you up on those white powdery mountains. So the land is owned by the company. All the fees have been paid. All the licenses have been paid. All the project, the drafting, the architecture, everything's done. All we need now is the capital to build the sucker. That's what the bond is about. The bond raises the capital to build the project. That bond pays 5% fixed interest over 2 years. After 13 months, the construction will be done. At that point, all bondholders will be able to either continue holding their bond, sell it, they can sell in the secondary market even before 13 months. Or they can actually convert into a growth token. That growth token will give them access to up 70% of the returns on all the rental income. And the company behind Tangible has done a lot of rental properties that have done quite well. Some of that is on their website at basecampniseko.com. You can check it out. And it also gives you, if the unit's ever sold, if they're sold, then you also get a piece of the action as well. And at the end, if you don't want to convert to growth, you can convert to cash. So there you go, 10% interest over 2 years, convert back to cash, sell in the secondary market, or convert to that growth token. I've also had amazing experience with the support team. You guys are definitely right on mark here. Appreciate that, Null. Thank you very much. CoinMetro predicts being in other exchanges besides the platform. No, I don't see any reason. CoinMetro's XCM token has its utility on the CoinMetro platform. That doesn't mean as we grow, other exchanges are going to list the token, and we can't stop them from doing that. That's the nature of crypto, just like Uniswap listed it, or someone listed it on Uniswap. But we won't actively go out and list on any other exchanges. Not part of our game plan. Love the desktop UI, it's brilliant. I invested at ICO stage. I can honestly say I love the progress. Thank you, Lee, appreciate it. Intent on holding my initial invest for many years. Wish you the best. Appreciate that as well. Oh, last one. Could it be possible to get price alerts one day, both on the app and the browser? Yeah, I think it is possible. If you could post that in the Telegram, and we'll pop that into our beta platform feedback, and we'll get it on the roadmap. What about XCM staking? I think XCM staking, you almost already quasi have it with the rebate structure, and with the tier structure that we have, and you combine that with the bond products where you're actually getting additional interest, you can kind of say that's XCM staking. You would get 8% if you weren't involved in anything else with CoinMetro, but if you're in that tier 3, you're getting 11%. So you really, it's a bit like getting staking on XCM. We need to find a vehicle to make that work, and that's probably going to be margin trading. So we'll have to see what the effect is when we release XCM into margin trading as collateral. If we start to see lots of pickup there, then there's potential that we could add in into the lending platform, and that would give us a way to actually stake the token. So there you go, guys. I didn't get to the news. What I'll do is I'll probably just do the news tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, I'll do the news. We'll pump that out on the socials. Not sure what time I'll do it. We're probably going to be around 3-4 p.m. Estonian time. So thanks you guys for being here. I very much appreciate it. I think it was a great AMA. We got through all the questions, I think. If I didn't get your question, tag me on Telegram at Kevin MURCKO or tweet me at Kevin MURCKO on Twitter, and I'll go ahead and answer those for you. Have a great weekend. Spend time with friends and family. Call them up on the phone, Zoom them, visit them in person, fly over to see them if you can, wear a face mask on the plane because you have to. And when you get there, you know, as you're sitting over dinner, a little bit of meatloaf, maybe some salmon, maybe some takeout, maybe some Grubhub, maybe some Bolt, maybe some Uber Eats, whatever you're eating. You know, as you're sitting there and you're digesting your food, say, you know, man, you know how I paid for this meal? It's from all these gains I got from XCM. And you know what? Even mention Parsec. Why not? Tell them to throw some money in Parsec as well. Do a 50-50 split. Anyway, guys, as always, have a great weekend. And see you guys on Telegram. And see you here next week. Cheers.